There are 5 different meanings that research shows that are possible meanings for the statement, these 10 words, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. One meaning that it usually can have is this. When a person says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, what they're really saying is, I am done and I want out of this marriage. I'm done. I'm done. I want out. You see, if I tell you that I love you, but I'm in love with you, it's a gracious way of letting you go. It's my way of saying I'm actually done, but I don't want to be too hurtful and mean to you because, we do have a history together and I want to leave, but I don't want to leave looking like a jerk. And personally, I want to make sure that you feel good. I'm actually done and I want out. So one thing that we as counselors do is we have to find out what does it mean for that person. For some, I'm done. I want out of the marriage. Sometimes things have happened in a relationship and you've lost those feelings of love. And as you step back and you think about the marriage, where it's been, the investments you've made, the investments they've made, you count the cost. What's it worth staying in it? Is it possible that we can get our love back? Do I want the love back? And people begin to think about all these things. Do I want to live my life this way? Do I want to spend, I'm 59. I'm 59 years old. Do I want to spend the next 30 years of my life living this way? And you know what? I do love her, but I'm not in love with her anymore. I've lost those feelings. And personally, I don't want those feelings back. I have no desire to have those feelings back. So one message is the idea that I am done and I want out of the marriage. These are very difficult people to try and get to come back because what they're using those 10 words as a way to say it's over. And for the most part, these people have already decided that it's over. This is just the statement they use to feel good about ending it. It's a kind of a kind way to say I'm done without hurting your partner because I love you. Oh, you do? But I'm not in love with you. Oh, that's about me and all the feelings. So it's over. You see? And so that's one of the possible meanings. Second is this one. Actually, when I say I love you, but I'm not really in love with you, the real message is this. I'm really attached to someone else and I really want to pursue them. Many years ago, it was a minister's wife, as a matter of fact. Minister and his wife came and did an intensive. It was my group intensive format. And they went through the first day and they went through half the second day. We had a lunch break. As everybody's coming back from lunch, she and him said, can we talk to you for a minute in the hallway? I said, sure. And I'm looking at both of them. She looks at him and he says, I'm not really sure that we should go back in there. I said, okay, what's that about? He goes, I love my wife, but I'm not in love with her. And I said, okay, you could actually rectify that. What I'm saying is, I have no feelings of affection or attraction for her. It's okay. He goes, and I believe if I stay married, I should have those feelings of attraction for her. And I went, I would agree. Be a kind of a boring marriage without feelings of attraction for each other. And I go, but you can get those back. He goes, I'm not so sure I want to. And I said, well, that's a different conversation to him. And she just standing there quiet. And I said, you mind if I ask you a question? He said, yes. And I said, everybody has feelings of attraction for something or someone. We all have feelings, those kinds of things. All right. If those feelings aren't towards her, where are they? And he immediately goes, well, I'm not sleeping with her. That's exactly what he said. And I was shocked. Of course, she was shocked. And I never said you were sleeping with anybody. I said, but based on that statement, we now know there's somebody else. He goes, yes, there is. And I go, you're exactly right. For you to go back into that room and work on the marriage means you have to give up this other relationship. He goes, I don't want to give it up. I said, you're right then. The marriage is over. That's what he meant when I love you, but I'm not in love with you. What he's saying is, I don't have a feeling of attraction for you. But what he's really saying is, which is uncommon, he wasn't telling us until the truth came out, he actually has feelings of love elsewhere. He's already got a secondary relationship with someone else. And this was a minister. And so the struggle here is that when he says, I love you, but I'm in love with you, what he's really saying is, I'm actually connected elsewhere, not you. And I don't want to be connected to you because I'm already attached elsewhere. My affections and attractions are with someone else. And sure enough, when we talked a little bit more in the hallway, I said, you're right. To go back in there is to give up the other relationship. He said, well, I'm not willing to do that. He said, okay, then. I said, okay, then. You're right. Going back in there would be a waste of time. And of course, she's sobbing now in the hallway. And I gave her a hug and I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. Why don't you go ahead and y'all head back to Ohio? How you got to figure that out? And I looked at her and I said, if you want me to help you walk through a divorce, let me know. Sure enough, I did some long distance counseling with her and I finally got her someone local. Sometimes that statement, I love you, but I'm in love with you, is because that person really has feelings and affection, attraction outside of that marriage, and they don't want to give it up. They'd rather pursue this other relationship. A third meaning for I love you, but I'm not in love with you is I cannot be close to you anymore, and I'm going to stay emotionally distant from you. I cannot be close to you anymore. And so I'm going to decide to stay emotionally disconnected from you. Now, this one may not want to leave the marriage because of kids, money, religious reasons, who knows? But what they are saying is, I am not going to be vulnerable with you anymore. I'm not going to be emotionally open to you. I'm going to keep walls up with you. And that's how I'm going to live my life with you. I'm just going to stay emotionally disconnected and distant from you. If we could live as roommates, that's fine. But I will not make myself vulnerable or open emotionally to you. Dr. Scott Stanley talks about two forms of commitment in marriage. There's commitment by devotion and commitment by constraint. Commitment by devotion is internal. I feel love for you. And because I feel love for you, it's internal motivation. It comes from within me. So my motive for the marriage is I feel love, internal motivation. I feel love for you. And that feeling of love and desire, it is the commitment. Commitment by constraint is external motivation. I don't feel love for you, but I'm committed because of the kids, because God hates divorce, because I can't afford to get a divorce. It's external. There are these things that keep you motivated or keep you committed, but there's zero feelings of devotion and love. Commitment by constraint. Now, Dr. Stanley's research shows that commitment by constraint, external motivations, is not a bad thing in the short term because it keeps you in there. But you've got to get the feelings of love back, that devotion, all right? You've got to feel the devotion again. And if you're not able to get that love back, you're going to end up as people with a very cold, distant relationship. And somebody's going to leave that after a while because the pain of living in that distance and disconnection isn't that great. You don't want to live that way, all right? And so the third one is, I cannot be close to you anymore, and I'm going to stay emotionally distant from you. That's a very cold marriage relationship to be in. Because intimacy requires partners being emotionally open to each other. Intimacy requires vulnerability. Vulnerability, it allows for emotionally open. But if I'm emotionally close to you, I'm not going to be vulnerable to you. You're a threat to me, or I'm afraid to be. Who knows? All right. What the motivations are. Number 4, I love you, but I'm not in love with you could also mean I'm actually no longer excited by you sexually or romantically. I have no romantic feelings for you, and I have no sexual desire for you. This is this person who's trying to let you down, but they're really saying is, I'm not attracted to you anymore. And because I have no romantic feelings or sexual attraction to you, I don't know that I'm going to be close to you or want the marriage. And a lot of those relationships, those are open to adultery or pornography, all kinds of stuff. But that's a very difficult place to be in because only you can be attracted to someone. That person can be in great physical shape and you still choose to not be attracted to them sexually or romantically. And the last one, I love you, but I'm in love with you, could also mean, number 5, that you're struggling with depression, that you're clinically depressed. And that when we're depressed, clinical depression particularly, you don't tend to feel positive feelings. You tend to feel blue, down, helpless, hopeless, down in the dumps, whatever the phrases are. And because depression forces you psychologically, emotionally to focus inward, it's hard to focus outward on a relationship. Depression causes withdrawal. People who are depressed tend to isolate and withdraw from relationships. So a lot of times, I love you, but I'm in love with you it actually means I'm depressed and I can't feel. All I feel is depression. The depression is taking over. If someone's in that place, then I would say go see a mental health professional and you could take an online, there's some online tests, the Zung, Z-U-N-G, depression inventory. You can find that online, answer it, score it. You'll know what level of depression you're at. The Beck depression inventory. A counselor could administer those for you, all right? But I would say go see a mental health professional, talk with them about the depression, and see what you can do to get the depression healthy, all right? Depression healthy, that's a dumb way to put it. Depression's not healthy. It may be normal at times, but it's not healthy. See what you need to do to get out of depression and get your mood stabilized. Value yourself enough to not stay in depression. All right. So now, let me go over those 5 different meanings. Here we go. I am done. I went out of the marriage. I'm really attached to someone else and want to pursue them. I cannot be close to you anymore, and I will stay emotionally distant. I'm no longer excited by you sexually or romantically. And number 5, I'm actually struggling with depression. Those are 5 potential meanings of I love you, but I'm not in love with you.